Hey everybody, I'm Jordan with Warpfire Minis. In today's challenge game, we're going against Coalesced Seraphon. For this one, going into Coalesced, it's always a little bit of a struggle to do damage, because they're reducing all incoming damage by 1. Then on top of that, they got the Troglodon floating around to give you -1 to hit. They've got the Starseer to give themselves a 5-up ward. So this one usually turns into a positioning battle, but let's just jump into it and see how it pans out. All right, first things first, I'll walk you through his list. And you're gonna have to bear with me, we got some proxies today. I just don't have all the Seraphon line. But starting out, he had 3 units of 3 Aggradons. So we got those guys right here. They're gonna be Chaos Knights today, but those are Aggradons. 2 units of 10 Saurus Warriors. We got a Troglodon, Skink Starseer, that's an old Croak model. We got the Astrolith Bear, and then 6 Kroxigor, and then 1 Saurus on Aggradon, the leader of the Aggradons there. So for me, looking at the list, like I always like to point out the threats, and in this one, kind of all of them are. The 3 Aggradons in Coalesced, they do Koatl's Claw where they get +1 to wound whenever they charge. So you can combine that with an all-out attack, and a unit of 3 can hit into a squad of clan rats and blow most of them up, if not all of them. Then the Troglodon, it's gonna give me that -1 to hit aura. It does okay damage, but it also casts a spell. It's really that -1 to hit that's really gonna be a bummer all game. Just anytime I go into the Coalesce stuff, like the Help Hit and Screech, so they're both damage 2, so now my damage is straight halved. And then you add a -1 to hit on top of that, and I'm gonna really struggle to kill most of what he has on the board. We're gonna be hoping for some good Blizzards, some good Dreaded 13th spells, stuff like that to make up for it. And then the unit of 6 Kroxigors, those guys, if they get into anything I have, I'm just dead. Like that, it's just a really good hammer unit that's very solid. Now that they got the 5 wounds, they're counting as 2 on objectives. They're just really good. Then the Astrolith Bear, just giving everybody a 6-up ward. The Starseer knows Hoarfrost, just to try and buff up one of the squads, and then can also give them a 5-up ward once per battle. And so that just, again, adding to the durability. There's just layers and layers of it. And then even the things like the Saurus Warriors, like he can confidently throw those into my clan rats and just, I'm not gonna do anything to him. He's gonna kill 5, 6, 7 of mine and just gonna overall win the war there. Then for this one, he brought a bunch of the battalions. And so this is a rare instance where I was going to outdrop him. And I knew that as I was deploying my army. It's like we've got our clan rats, everything kind of pushed out to the max. And the one cool move we got is we put Skabbik over here. We deployed him all the way up in the corner, so I can go 13 up and then 15 over. But what that does is turn 1, since I know that I'm gonna take the turn, I can instantly start off the game doing his Befoul Prayer onto this objective, which ends up being a big deal. So this is the deployment. We'll just jump into Skaven top of 1. For the battle tactic, I end up going with Magical Dominance. He had deployed this Aggradon vet up here, all the way on the front of the line, which is gonna get him within 30 inches of this Greyseer and Screech. But I also back deployed this guy just to make it difficult where he couldn't have him in range of everyone. So we're still gonna go for it. We got this guy back here where we can get at least a spell off. Anytime we get an easy battle tactic, we wanna do that, so that's the plan. Over here we go for a Bless on the clan rats and get it. We trigger the Great Plague to reroll prayers. And then we do Skabbik's Befoul. We get it on that objective as well. Spell-wise, with this Greyseer back here, we end up putting a Mystic Shield onto the Furnace just to beef him up. And then this is my Skitterleap Greyseer. I end up Skitterleaping this purple Greyseer all the way over here. And then this puts this Greyseer now outside of 30 of the Troglodon. So now I started out with only having 1 guy that could cast. Now this guy can safely cast as well. And he just goes for a Death Frenzy, gets it on the Help Hit, and then casts an Arcane Bolt. Nothing in range, just if he comes in, do 1 mortal wound, that's cool. From there, we'll jump into movement. First up, we run Screech. I know I'm gonna send him down here to this Knothole to later then jump over there to get on the objective. He can make it there naturally, so we're just fishing for a good run roll. We use it. We get a 5, so that's a great run roll I can use for the rest of my army. So then over here, we're gonna move these clan rats up. We make sure to get the clan rats within 3 of the Greyseer, so he can shift his wounds there if need be. Then we run the Help Hit up here to touch this objective. On this side, we scoot the clan rats up as well. So clan rats go up here, we're just building a little screen so we can put Skabbik's boys on it and keep them safe. Next up, we run Skabbik over this way. get his guys up here on the objective. The Plague Furnace runs up here as well, getting on the objective. And this Gracier, he can't quite make it, so he ends up running over here just to get on this piece of terrain, at least get a bonus to his saves. That takes us to the end of the movement, and we jump Screech into this gnaw hole. And here I had a debate. I wanted to keep him safe. He's pretty important in this matchup for me. Just his spell to do those mortal wounds, that's like my only real chance at killing things. But looking at it, my whole plan was I need to be able to deny him an objective early to try and get up. So I take Screech and I go over here and we full send him here onto this objective. He's in -1 to hit stance right now, so we're just thinking if he does make a really long charge to get in, Screech is gonna be fine, and at least we'll try and deny him those early points. But that's it for the turn. We get 1-2 more tactic, so 5 points for Skaven. We'll go into Seraphon, bottom of 1. And so now that we're in his turn, he's looking through his battle tactics and seeing what he can and can't do. And pretty much his only option here was surround and destroy, which is great for me. It means those Aggradons are gonna have to scoot out to the board edges in order to get there, which is gonna take them out of the game for a turn. The way that I had things set out, this objective is befouled. He can't kill this Plague Pack, so there's no way for him to take this objective. This center one, I left it completely open because Seraphon, they have a battle tactic where they just take an objective from you using skink units. I didn't want to give him access to that one turn 1, so we just left that one completely empty. And then over here, between the 2 monsters and all the clan rats, even with really good run and charge rolls, he's not going to be able to take this objective from me. So we did a good job as far as just denying him these 2 objectives. We should be able to get an early lead, and it forces him into a battle tactic that's not necessarily ideal. He does have a hero phase move available to him, which he actually has to use in order to get the Aggradons in range of the sides. So in the hero phase, he goes ahead and he moves these 2 units of Aggradons. Then for other things, just spells in the hero phase, he ends up getting a Mystic Shield off onto this squad of Saurus Warriors. Also gets a Hoarfrost on him. He rolls the 1 for the Hoarfrost and just puts that on the to wound. So they'll be wounding on 1s, which really means 2s. He tries to cast, they've got 1 spell for running and charging a unit. And I saved all my primal dice to try and unbind that one, and we do. So that's gonna prevent him from just like throwing something right in my face turn 1. From there, we just go to movement, and he moves these Aggradons over to score his battle tactic. Same idea with this squad over here, they move over to the edge. For the Saurus Warriors, they run up, moving over toward the objective. The 3 Aggradons go right behind him. Troglodon follows suit. With these Saurus Warriors, he's got a decision which way to go. And looking at the board, Skavek's gonna be able to keep just doing the befoul on the objective, which is gonna make this one very difficult to take all game. And so he decides to send the Saurus Warriors over this way. He's kind of just sending his whole force. He's gonna try and just hold these 2 objectives for the game. So these Saurus Warriors, they run over here onto the objective. The Kroxigor, they're gonna do the same thing. They're just gonna start working their way this way. And the Aggradon hero runs up this way in front. The Astrolith bearer runs to get up here just to give everybody the ward save. And then lastly, that Starseer moves up here to the middle. All right, so that's the end of the movement phase. Over here, he stayed outside of 9 so that I couldn't redeploy. And then the charge phase, he went for it, just he could make the charge and still stay wholly within 6, and so he does. And he ends up making the charge, so the Aggradons come in. So the Aggradons, they make their charge, they pile in. Only one of them is able to get into Skavek's boys down here. One into the clan rats, and then the other one just can't quite make it in. So in the combat phase, they kill 2 of Skavek's guys here, and they kill 6 clan rats. The 6 I just pull down here from this end, that we can keep more bodies towards the objective. My guys, we fight back, and we do a couple damage to the Aggradon. Pile Skavek in as well. Just for me, the more units I can have in combat, it'll make it to where flee is very easy for me next turn. And Skavek, he'll be -1 to hit, -1 to wound, because he's next to a unit with 3 or more models, so he's very safe. But overall, we end up doing like 2 damage to the Aggradons. And then that's the end of the turn. He only controls this 1 objective, and then scores his battle tactic, because he got this around. So 3 points, that's exactly where we wanted to be. We're up 5-3 going into round 2. We roll off for priority, and I win the priority roll. And looking at the board, I think I'm gonna go ahead and take the turn while I can still score max super easy on these objectives. So that's what we do. Notably, the Plague Furnace gives Battle Shock immunity. So for the Plague Pack here and the Clan Rats, I didn't even have to roll Bravery. And then at the end of Battle Shock, 2 Clan Rats come back to life. So let's get into Skaven top of 2. For Battle Tactic, we're gonna go with Flee. I've got Skabbik and the Plague Pack here, and the Clan Rats even, all in combat, so just retreating 2 of those out. It's automatic, I don't have to roll any dice for it to happen, so that's a beautiful thing. And we'll jump into the hero phase. For spellcasting, we go for the Dreaded 13th with Screech, and I put it into the Saurus Warriors. Knowing it normally does 6 or so damage, I could have chosen to pop one of the Aggradons, but into the Saurus Warriors instead, I'm really just trying to go to lessen the amount of bodies he has. So if I can kill 3 or 4 Saurus Warriors, that's better than just 1 Aggradon as far as bodies on objectives. So we cast the spell, we get it off, and we do 8 mortal wounds, which kills 4 of the Saurus Warriors. Which means I get a squad of 8 Clan Rats. And I put those down here by this gnaw hole. There's not an ideal spot for them right now, but we're gonna put them there and then try and gnaw hole them around later. Even though they came in this turn, they can't move, but it's the gnaw hole's ability that lets them do the teleports. So that's one way to get some free movement. For prayers, we do a bless onto the Clan Rats, a curse onto the Aggradons, and then Skabbik befouls the objective again. On the befoul, I got to roll a 4-up for all the units on the objective, and nobody takes any mortal wounds. From there, we'll go into movement, and we start out, we retreat these Clan Rats out. We pull Skabbik back out this way. Then we go ahead and retreat out the Plague Pack as well. We run this Plague Priest just around this way. And then the Furnace moves over here just to be outside of 3. Gonna charge into those Aggradons. Then the Greyseer, he's finally in range, so he runs up here next to these Clan Rats. He just wants to be able to shrug wounds into that when the damage starts to come in. Then on this side of the board, we already control the objective, and we want to keep it that way. So I end up running these Clan Rats, and we're gonna try and build a big screen to just keep him off of this objective. So we move them up to be outside of 3. Now that I have this screen here, I'm gonna get Screech a little bit further back. There's gonna be a situation where he charges in, kills the screen, and then tries to pile in within 3 to get to me. So Screech, he got a Mystic Shield on him in the hero phase, but he's gonna back up this way a little bit, as far as he can. And then the Hell Pit I have run over this way, to where if he does charge in with those Aggradons, the Hell Pit's gonna be able to fight them back in combat. The Hell Pit did get Death Frenzy on him from the Greyseer as well. Then this purple Greyseer, he runs 12 and gets up here on the objective. He gets it here, again, just being within 3 to shrug wounds into the Clan Rats, even though the Clan Rats are probably gonna die. In between Screech and the Hell Pit here, I did leave a gap big enough to where if he does get into combat, he'll be able to retreat back to safety. So from there, we'll go to end of movement. These Clan Rats, we're gonna teleport them into this gnaw hole, send them over here to this one, and then boom, instantly trigger it right back. And then we can go wholly within 6 of the gnaw hole, so we're going to use it to build a screen here in front of Screech in case these Kroxigor want to come crashing in. And yes, there's still a gap here where they can come in. It just I have to be outside of 9 inches of these Saurus Warriors. So we have them positioned to where if they do move down a little bit, I'll be able to redeploy and try and close that gap. Then also in the end of the movement phase, we go ahead and we drop in our Gutter Runners. And we drop in the Gutter Runners back there. The game plan is we want to shoot into this Starseer. He hasn't used his 5-up ward ability yet. And the reason he didn't do it turn 1 is it's a once per battle thing. And if he had got the double turn here, he definitely would have taken it and then that 5-up ward would have gone to waste. So he was trying to wait a little bit later in the game to use it. So now's my opportunity to jump on him, try and kill him. He was my chosen target for the Gutter Runners. So we'll be on 3s and 3s. We got a good chance of killing this guy in the shooting phase. Then we also set him up to be within 9 inches of this Astrolith bearer, who's his general. So if I do shoot and kill the Starseer, I could also potentially charge down into that Astrolith bearer and try to kill him too. But we go into the shooting phase, I shoot a bunch of shots into the Starseer, he all-out defenses him, and the Gutter Runners, we just don't get it done. We end up doing, I think, 4 damage and shooting. Starseer lives. From there, we go into the charge phase. I charge in with the Clan Rats first. Just Clan Rats, if they have a banner, they can retreat and charge. It's a charge I don't care about, so we're just fishing for a good charge roll. And we get a 9 for the first charge roll, which means the Plague Furnace can make it in. And so can the Gutter Runners. So we send them into the Starseer. Combat phase, I know the Starseer is not an all-star in combat, so we start with the Plague Furnace over here. I've got my Artifact, which lets me roll a dice and do mortal wounds at the start of the combat phase. We end up rolling a 5 for that, so it does D6 mortal wounds, and then boom, it does 5 mortal wounds right out the rip, so that kills 1 Aggradon. And then in its combat phase, one of its attack profiles, just you roll a dice. On a 2-up, you do D3 plus 4 mortal wounds. So we do another 7, and between the rest of his attacks, plus the curse, we proc a couple more mortal wounds, we end up killing the Aggradons. He fights with the Starseer and kills one Gutter Runner. And then the Gutter Runners, they fight back and they kill the Starseer. Then that ends up being the turn. I'll hold 1, 2 more. I got my battle tactic, so 5 points. At the end of the battle shock, we get 2 more clan rats back over here. And one quick note for the Gutter Runners, another part of putting them back there was, now that they're back there, he's got a choice. He can either ignore them and just continue to get shot, or he's gonna have to take either his Aggradons or the Troglodons or the Kroxigors, something that he wants to be putting into combat down here. He's gonna have to turn around to go deal with those. So either way, I got to kill the Starseer, and it's gonna pull one thing out of combat for the next turn, and where they're positioned, probably 2 turns. So we'll jump into Seraphon, bottom of 2. For Seraphon in his turn, he ends up choosing Lead into the Maelstrom. He's got his Trog in a good position to charge something. Over here, there's so much stuff, he's likely gonna end in combat anyways, so that's a solid battle tactic. And for spellcasting, he gets a Mystic Shield off, puts it onto the Kroxigor. Then he also does his Hero Phase move and moves these guys down. He moves the Aggradon Hero down, and then also the Kroxigor. Into the regular movement phase, he moves the Aggradon Hero down here, then he moves the Kroxigors down, and then when he does, I do redeploy these clan rats to close up this gap. On this side, he moves the Aggradons down, just getting everybody to be within 3, or just outside of 3. And the Troglodon turns around to go chase these Gutter Runners. Then with the Saurus Warriors against us, he's focusing on this side of the board. He ends up running these guys over here. Troglodon goes in and shoots into the Gutter Runners, and he kills 4. And then into the charge phase, the Troglodon charges in. And then for me, I didn't unleash hell there. The Troglodon heals D3 every hero phase, so maybe I do 3 or 4 damage, but then he's gonna heal it right off, so it'd just be a waste of a command point. Then the Saurus Warriors come down, Aggradons come in, and then these Aggradons come in as well. On this side, the Aggradon Hero charges in, and the Kroxigor make it in as well. Then just jumping straight into the combat phase, the 3 Aggradons on this side fight first, and they all out attack. They've got that +1 to wound, and just with the 1 squad, they kill all 20 clan rats. So that's unfortunate. I had all out defense the clan rats. We were hoping to keep 1 or 2 alive, just try and tie this other stuff up, but we didn't. The hell pit is within 3 though, so I do get to pile in my combat phase. I fight into this squad of Aggradons, and again with the -1 to damage, I think I end up doing 4 damage. We don't even kill an Aggradon. Then he goes with the Hero Aggradon down here and clears out the clan rat screen. And again, just that +1 to wound is just so good. It makes you do very consistent damage. Then it goes to my combat. Screech is now within 3 of this Aggradon Hero, and I choose not to pile in. Like, I would love to go in and kill this guy, but again, with the -1 to damage, all my damage is halved, so it's just not gonna happen. And then if I do pile in, I'm just allowing more Kroxigor to hit me this turn. So I just choose not to pile in. I swing with my glaive because it's still in range, and we do 2 damage to the Aggradon Hero. And then the Kroxigor, they do pile in. But since we stayed so far away, he's only able to get 2 of them to be in range. Those 2 Kroxigor hit, and they do 9 damage to Screech through his ward and everything else. Ouch. Next up, he piles in with these Aggradons. He's just focusing in on the Hell Pit, trying to kill all my big threats so that I won't be able to take the objective back from him later. Hits in and does 12 damage to the pit. Saurus Warriors, they pile in just cuz, but they can't really get to anything. Just getting them all on the objective. And then since my Gracier is within 3 now, I do retreat him out all the way to this back corner to try and be as safe as we possibly can. And I forgot about these guys. The Troglodon had fought earlier and killed all of these Gutter Runners. And then that's the turn. He'll score 1, 2 more in his battle tactic. He's got plenty of battle line stuff still in range. It's cool in Coalesced, like the Kroxigor are battle line, the Aggradon are battle line, the Saurus Warriors are battle line. That plays into his grand strategy is Overshadow. And that's one thing that I've got in the back of my mind is that Overshadow, he has to have one of his battle line live, which is very easy. That's definitely going to happen. But he also has to kill all of my battle line. So I've got the PCBs, I love deep striking in and blowing stuff up. But in this mission, I'm trying to keep them safe to make sure they don't die. And their damage is halved in this matchup anyways. So we've still got them in deep strike, just waiting things out. So now we're going into round 3. We roll off priority, and Seraphon wins the priority roll, and they take the double turn. So here it comes. So Seraphon top of 2, his battle tactic is a Seraphon specific one where I think it's just the Saurus Warriors, they have to start the turn in combat and then still be alive at the end. So he's gonna kill Screech, those guys are gonna live. Pretty easy battle tactic this round. We go into spell casting, he tries to cast a Mystic Shield, I unbind it, and then we'll just jump straight into movement. On this side, everything's already in combat, so nothing's really going on. He runs his Astrolith Bear over this way a little bit, just to try and get people in more ward range. Troglodon moves down this way, just getting everybody back into that -1 to hit bubble just in case. And then these Saurus Warriors, they just tidy up on the objective, make sure they get all 10 of them on. Shooting phase, the Troglodon takes some pot shots at the Grey Seer. I all out defense, and we live. I think he does 2 damage to the Grey Seer. And then long story short, in the combat phase, he piles in with the Kroxigor, kills Screech. Then moving over to the Hell Pit. The Hell Pit, he fights into these Aggradons here. And between the Mortal Wound ability that he does and then the damage we did previously, we end up killing 2 Aggradons this turn. Then his 3 Aggradons over here, they piled in, they kill the Hell Pit. But we've got our dice roll, boom, we roll a 5, so he stays alive. And we heal 6 wounds on him. So when this one single Aggradon piles in and fights back, he doesn't kill him. Hell Pit lives with 3 wounds. And then when I had piled in the Hell Pit in this combat, I made sure to get outside of 3 inches of these Saurus Warriors, so that way they couldn't pile in combat and get me. They didn't charge this turn, so they don't get to pile in. But that ends up being the turn. His Saurus Warriors did live, so he does score his battle tactic. 1, 2 more, 5 points. So moving on, we go to Skaven, bottom of 3. For my battle tactic this turn, we're gonna go surround and destroy. I'd set up that drill out in no man's land to be 1. Our Grey Seer still alive here to be number 2. And then we're gonna go with the Plague Priest over here. Easy peasy for a tactic. For prayers, we get a Bless Off onto the Clan Rats. We cast a Mystic Shield onto the Clan Rats. And then on this side, I don't even cast because I'm afraid of a miscast. I don't want to blow myself up. My grand strategy is to keep my heroes alive. I got 4 of them over here, so we're looking pretty good. I want to keep that guy alive to make it as hard as I possibly can. We got 2 more turns left, just got to weather the storm. So that's it for the hero phase. Into movement, we retreat the Hell Pit out of combat. The Hell Pit also healed 2 in my hero phase. And that's just, he's not going to kill all this stuff, so there's no point in just letting him die. By leaving him there, it's going to make him keep something on this objective, which keeps them from going that way, which is great. On this side, I've got to take an objective, and the only available one, like definitely not happening there. I got to make a play on this one. So we go for a run roll first on a Skabic, and we get a pretty low one, maybe it's a 2 or a 3. So he runs over here to set up my tactic. And then the Clan Rats, they roll the run, and we get some of them on the objective. And so with the run roll, I only ended up getting 8 Clan Rats on the objective to his 10, so I need to get more bodies on. So we use that same run roll, we make our Plague Priest get over here, just barely touching it, which now that gives me 10. And then we go ahead and we start setting up over here. Then on the rest of the board over here, we move the Skabic guys just kind of up here on the objective. The Grey Seer runs back. We're just trying to get as far away as we possibly can. And the Plague Furnace, it scoots over this way. And I just want to be wholly within 13 for that immunity battle shock bubble. So at the end of move, that leaves me with 10 on the objective to his 10, so I'm not going to take it. But we have our Deep Strike guys still. So we Deep Strike in, 9 away exactly. Boom, we've got the drill on, so we're going to take this objective, which is huge. We end up teleporting this Grey Seer back to this back edge. So we're going to score our tactic, because we got the drill, Grey Seer, Plague Priest. Then when the drill comes in, it brings in the Plague Sensor Bears. And these guys, normally we're using them for damage. This time we're just trying to deny Overshadow. So they set up wholly within 13 of the drill. We had to have the drill there on that objective. So we set these guys up wholly within 6 of this knot hole. So an end of the movement phase, we're still in it. So we hop into the knot hole and we pop out all the way back here, the farthest side of the board away from him as far as we can go. Also giving us protection for our heroes. And then that's the turn. We're going to score 1, 2 more. Got our battle tactic for surround. So we're staying pace, keeping our lead. So now we roll priority off for round 4, and Seraphon wins the priority roll. They take the turn. So top of 4, Seraphon. All right, so for Seraphon, his battle tactic ends up being invaders. Just going to move out of his zone. Very easy to do. Over here, I do my heroic action to get an unbind on the Plague Priest so that I have somebody in range to unbind. And then I end up unbinding his spell for the run and charge. So we'll just jump straight into movement. The Kroxigor, they move down. The Saurus Warriors, he's just keep it on the objective, make sure he's got bodies on. Troglodon makes his move down this way as far as he can go. Saurus Warriors move down. They're going to try and fight these clan rats. And then the Astrolith of the Bear gets on the objective as well. The Scarvet hero scoots down. And then these Aggradons, they position outside of 3 of the Hell Pit to charge in and kill him. Shooting phase, the Troglodon shoots into the clan rats and kills a few. I pulled this one to make the charge longer for the Kroxigor, and we pull a couple off the back. And into the charge phase, the Kroxigor, they fail the charge. The Saurus Warriors, they make it in. He fights with the Saurus Warriors, and I all-out defense the clan rats. And this one's important because I've got Mystic Shield, now all-out defense, and Bless on the clan rats. So they're a lot tankier than you're used to. So the Saurus Warriors, they do all of their attacks, and they end up only killing 3 clan rats. It goes to my combat, so I first pile in the drill, which then triggers a pile in for my whole army. And so I pile the clan rats down just to get more of them on the objective, while also making sure I stay within 13 inches for the immunity bubble. The drill fights in, and we end up killing 1 Saurus Warrior. And then the clan rats fight, and they kill another one. Which then we go to the battle shock phase. I auto pass from the furnace. I get D3 clan rats back, and we get 2, which now puts him in a position where he does not take this objective back. And it was just because he was expecting to kill a huge chunk of these clan rats. And it was the Mystic Shield plus the all-out defense, so I was saving on 4s. Then I've got a 6-up ward on top of that. Then I've got battle shock immunity, and I bring guys back. Like, that was gonna be a tough ask. Then before I forget, over here on this side, the Aggradons, they had piled in, charged in, and killed the Hell Pit. So we go to scoring. He just holds the 1 objective this turn, plus his battle tactic for 3 points. Being able to deny him here, that ended up being a 2-point swing my way. So we'll just jump into bottom of 4, Skaven. I know that in my back pocket, I've got Invaders, which will be my battle tactic this turn. Then I have the one where I chant 3 prayers. So I'm good on tactics the rest of the game. And so looking at the score, I'm up on points, and I know that he's not gonna be able to clear out these Plague Sensor Bears. So I'm gonna deny Overshadow, so I'm up an extra 3 points in reality. So I'm looking at the board. I don't even need to control this objective to still outscore him. So I'm just gonna back everybody up. We're just gonna build a little screen here to double make sure he doesn't get back this way, and we should be able to coast it out. So battle tactic, we go Invaders. Prayers, we get a Bless back onto the clan rats, and then we'll just jump straight into movement. Movement-wise, I take these Plague Pack guys and go out this way, and we're just building a screen to try and keep that Troglodon from coming in. On this side, we're just gonna retreat out, and then we retreat out the clan rats as well, and we retreat out the drill. And then end of movement phase, we hop the Gracier into the Knothole and pop him out on this objective as well, over by the PCBs. And then that's my turn. I'm gonna hold 1 plus my tactic for 3 points. So again, we're just keeping the pace. I know that I've got that Overshadow 3-point lead, plus the point lead that I've already got. And so we have a roll off for priority going into turn 5, and I win the priority roll, and I take the turn. For me, this turn is gonna be the battle tactic for chanting 3 prayers. And boom, 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 we get that off. We've got the rerolls, really solid battle tactic. In the movement phase, I just push out, make a little bit more of a screen, pull the priest and guys back a little bit farther, just making sure we don't want him to be able to get on the objective any kind of way. The furnace is blocking it off, the clan rats are blocking it off. And I've already scored my points. He's gonna get 1, 2 more, so it doesn't even matter if he does get on the objective. Just the way things are built out, there's just no way for him to get to these Plague Sensor Bears. And that's the only way that he could possibly outscore me, is by killing those guys. So that ends up being the game. The rats, we take it down. And this one just goes to show that you're not gonna blow your opponent off the board every game. Like, there are some matchups where the damage just isn't there. You're not going to do it. And so you have to rely on other tools like clan rats with Mystic Shield, all-out defense, and Bless. Being able to retreat your heroes out. Taking the very first turn, even though it opens you up to getting double turned and getting crushed, like, the opportunity to deny your opponent points is just such a big deal. So looking at the way he deployed, I knew that if I pushed out on these 2, got that prayer off, he's just gonna go down 2 right out the rip. And then with his grand strategy being Overshadow, I knew that the PCBs, even though I want them on the board to do damage, I can save them till turn 3, drop them wherever he's not, and then boom, that's another 3-point lead that I can have. So doing those kinds of things, it just opens up a lot of opportunities where, like late game, I just retreated off this objective and said I don't even want to fight because I don't need to fight and I'm still going to outscore you and win the game. So like for this one, if we look at who killed the most stuff, like he totally decimated my army. The only thing I killed all game was this squad of 3 Aggradons and then the Starseer with the Gutter Runners. And so just goes to show that with the new improved Flee, with the 3 prayers battle tactic, like it just opens up a totally different style of game. And Skaven, like we're actually in a pretty good spot right now we got lots of different ways we can play, lots of different ways we can win. Chalk this one up, win for the Rats. So that's it, the Rats, we take it down. And this was one where it was definitely the positioning is what got it for me. I think overall I maybe killed 2 of his units throughout the whole battle. So just getting on those objectives, getting ahead early, and then really those new tactics with Flee being better and getting that prayer tactic. That's what took it home for us today. But we'll catch you next week for another challenge game. And then if you ever need models, check us out at warpfireminis.com. Thank you.